Hey friend, John MacLennan here, and in this video you're gonna learn how to play I'm Gonna Find Another You as recorded by John Mayer on guitar. Now this song has a 6/8 or a sort of old school 12/8 feel to it. We're gonna learn the rhythm guitar part through the whole thing, and these changes are so great. They're just very standard gospel style chord changes, and we're gonna be playing in the sort of Jimi Hendrix, Curtis Mayfield, or Steve Cropper kind of rhythm playing that I think is very common if you listen to like Stax records or a lot of the old soul records and things like Otis Redding and stuff like that. This style of guitar is so great to know and is a big part of my own playing, and of course gets a classic John Mayer sound. I'm gonna break it all down for you step by step, but before we jump in, if you haven't downloaded my fretboard guide yet, you're gonna wanna grab this at the first link down below. And this is gonna show you the 5 chords and scales that I use to map out the entire fretboard. And when we get into talking about the shapes of today's video, a lot of these shapes you'll see right on this page. So it's just gonna help develop your rhythm playing and your lead playing and give you a system that you can follow. So grab your copy completely for free. Just go to johnmaclennan.com/fretboard guide or use the first link down below. All right, well with that said, let's break this song down. Let's break down how to play I'm Gonna Find Another You as recorded by John Mayer on guitar. Now we start off with this intro that's sort of freely played, and then we go into the A section. Here's what that intro sounds like. We're starting out just on a little triad here on the top 3 strings. We're gonna play an A chord. And that's just 6, 5, 5 on the top 3 strings. Then we're gonna add these 2 notes here, 7 and 7, or D and F sharp, and then we'll keep that A on top. This actually turns to sort of a D chord there. Then we jump back down to a lower part of an A chord here. This is 7, 6, 5, but I shifted to the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. We'll play that once, and then you kind of just play it again, but just the top string. So then shift down to an F sharp minor chord, those same strings, 4, 2, 2, and then back up to A. So it's like, then we finish on an E augmented, and this is a very bluesy sounding chord, right? 6th fret of the 4th string, and then 5 and 5 on the 3rd and 2nd strings. And it's just those 3 notes, but the full chord is like, you know, you hear this like in T-Bone Walker. You know, before the tune starts, it's just setting you up. And then John Mayer, of course, comes in singing It's Really Over there. So this whole intro, again, just freely played is... From there, we go into a 16-bar A section, and I'll play it for you first, and then I'll break it down. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so that's the basic idea there, and what I want to do is just go over the shapes first, and then we'll talk more about sort of the little fills and nuances in between. So John Mayer's using a lot of these thumb chords, so he's starting out here on this A. That's just a Jimi Hendrix or Curtis Mayfield, Steve Cropper kind of A chord there, and then you go to an A7 like this, which looks like sort of a D shape, but here at the 5th fret, and then the thumb is on the A note on the low E. Then he goes to D, but instead of this, he does sort of the Jimi Hendrix, right? And this is a great chord here. It's starting on the 5th string, 9, 7, 7, 10. That's his D. Then to D sharp diminished 7. Very common blues sound there. It's the sharp 4. So that's, 6, 7, 5, 7 there are the frets on those middle strings. Now sometimes he'll bar, kind of get that high A on top. It sounds really good. Then back to A. Now you could go to F sharp minor like this. Sometimes it sounds like John does this. Kind of it's a tricky chord there. That one, F sharp minor 9. Then B minor 7 to E7. Then the turnaround goes A, to the D, and then the minor D. So it's basically a 1 to 4, then minor, then back to 1. Very common sound. Then finishes up on the E7 there. So this would be the A chord, and you walk up like this. That's really cool. So that's A, and then 7, 9 on the low E. Then again, think about that D shape we learned, but without the pinky this time. Kind of just the standard, I think of, the Wind Cries Mary there. But then now make it minor. So you've got just changing that one note from F sharp down to F makes that chord now minor. Then you're back to A, and then he does this little this little lick. So that's just A, then 7 slide to 9 on the 5th string, then 7 on the 4th string, and then E7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in a sort of a 6/8 feel or a 12/8 feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you've got those chords there now. Now, John Mayer's approach is, later in the tune he's playing more of a groove, like kind of that classic soul guitar, but he starts off arpeggio picking. So basically what I'm doing is just keeping 8th notes rolling through the chord, but starting with that root note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then here you got this little hammer on. Then double stops like John Mayer, like Jimi Hendrix. Then arpeggio pick, the D sharp diminished 7. Keep arpeggio picking. Then you can mix in some strumming like this. So the first time it goes and does that. The second time it goes, we just stay on A. Then we go to the B section. There's that little kind of a cool Motown-y bass line there. It's an A chord, and then 5, 7 slide to 9. Grab that 7, and then slide back down 9 to 7, then 5. So 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of staccato. Then we go to the B section. When I Was Your Lover is the lyric. Come on, baby. Then he's doing all his B.B. King licks on top of that. So what happens here for the B section, after you do this, you go to B minor 7, and then to F sharp, and you just alternate that 3 times, F sharp minor. And now you could go here, or you could go, I did it up here too. So So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 bar per chord. Now after the third time, we change the B and we go to B7 there, which looks like the A7, just 2 frets higher. Here we'll stay here for 2 bars and then E7. And we go back to the A section. So go on, baby, make your little getaway. Okay, now when we end the tune, from that E7, we go to this final ending and we go. And we do the tag. So this goes up to a new chord, C sharp minor 7. Looks like the B minor just on the 9th fret. Then F sharp 7. B minor 7, E7, hold that E7, and then you end on A. Now the tune goes back at the very end, you hear the guitar. And it does the intro again. So as I mentioned, this type of guitar playing you'll hear on like Otis Redding style stuff. I think of Steve Cropper and Stax Records. And it's just a great way to play in a 6/8 or 12/8 time signature where you're arpeggio picking, adding some strumming, then little fills in between. And it can just make playing some basic chords, like if you saw the chords on a chart, A, D, and E, so much more fun versus just strumming like basic open chords. So keep working on it, and to help you even more, be sure to pick up my ultimate fretboard guide at the first link down below. Again, this is going to tie right in with this lesson. When you see a lot of these shapes on this page, you'll see how the chords and the scales go together. So when John Mayer is kind of playing some of those double stops and other licks off of the chords, those come from other scale notes that are right there under the shapes. So this page is going to help explain that to you and give you a system that's going to show you how to play it in any style, anywhere on the neck. Just go to johnmaclennan.com/fretboard guide or use the first link down below. Next, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment and let me know your #1 John Mayer song. Just comment it down below. As always, thanks for your support with the videos, and we'll catch you in another one real soon.